Hey, good morning, everybody. Jason here. Not a lot gonna go on today. I don't think. I don't think I'm gonna make a whole lot of moves. But I wanted to talk about two other things. One, my comment about being hacked when I'm hacked down. I've been hacked $800 right now. And the second thing is just what bonds and interest and all that really means on a very simple level to us. Um, After we just look at where we're at right now. Okay, so right now we have barely even moved. Our account's pretty much not moving. I did sell I closed, so I bought to close two of the call credit spreads that I had on Tesla. And so this is all that we have left, these four expiring this week. And I'm going to try to not touch these till the last day. They still have a little bit of equity. Actually, hardly any. 16.6. This has almost a couple $100 worth of equity left. Maybe 250. So I'm going to try not to touch these. Maybe roll them out. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Tesla bouncing. I think it's bouncing around quite a bit today. But it looks like a little bit of the downside trend. So let's talk about that really quickly. So yesterday there was some news that came out, and on the headline it read like Elon or Tesla cancels FSD beta. And for those people who don't know exactly what that meant, that could look like some pretty terrible news for Tesla. And I believe that's the reason it was hanging around 690s and then it sold off $20 or $25 towards the end of the day. But if you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't, this is what it means. There's a version out right now that is very limited. Not very many people have it. It's like a special program, right? Some people have to test this new system, and basically it gets you supposed to be able to get you from a start place to a destination with very, very little intervention, as compared to the public one that's available, which is supposed to just operate on freeways, which will get you to an on-ramp to off-ramp. So a couple weeks ago or a week ago, he tweeted out, okay, we're going to make the beta version available to a lot more people. And then he went back on that. He said no. And the reason being because they are on one software version right now. The new one's going to be coming out in a week or two. And he said, okay, it's not worth more people testing out this older version because the new version is going to be so much improved. That's when we're going to do it. But of course, because the news being the news wants to sensationalize it a little bit, they only put that on the headline, right? It's just something that makes sense. It's like, okay, we have this old version of the software, let's have a whole bunch of people test it. But that doesn't make any sense when they have a new one coming out. So that was probably part of what affected it. Second things, bonds, interest, etc. A quick simplification of this. Why is this affecting us so much? Yes, there's long-term interest. That growth companies, they're going to have to pay more interest to loan money, and companies need money in order to grow. But the other part of this, what happens is, so somebody who's a very safe investor, but not crazy safe, right? So let's say you have whatever X amount of money. If you have a large sum of cash, and that cash is just sitting there in your bank account collecting whatever silly amount they give you in a savings account, 0.01%, and inflation is up at 2%. Basically, by holding that cash, you're losing money over time. So what do people do? They either they can put it in stocks, bonds, or real estate. That's the typical three, just to put a large amount of cash. So with bonds being so low, that's not very much. So let's say bonds are at 1%. We'll use this for an example. Okay, so you make 1%, you're still not beating inflation, but it's super safe. Let's say the stock market on average is returning 8% a year. But also stocks are more risky, as you guys know. They can go up and they can go down. So you can lose a lot of money in a given year, but you can also make more money. But we'll just take that as an average. We'll say 8%. So the difference between holding bonds at 1% and being in the stock market of 8%, that's a 7% upside to having stocks. Okay, so what happens when bond rates go up, and why is that bad? So let's say bonds start yielding 4% as opposed to 1%. That's a little bit extreme. But now, instead of being invested in stocks for a possible 8%, you could be invested in bonds for a very, very, very safe, steady, and stable 4%. So the difference between the bonds at 4 and stocks at 8 is only a 4% difference. It's not as huge difference as a 7%. So what happens then? People sell their stock, they put it into bonds, which is very safe, and by selling stock, that lowers the price of the stock, right? As soon as people sell, price goes down. And on the opposite side, if bond rates go way down, people are better off having their money in the stock market. So that's why that affects us so much. That's a very oversimplification, but that's why these things affect it. So, and like look at it compared to like AT&T dividend paying stock, we can get about 7% a year on our money in that. If we were able to do that same amount with bonds, why would we be in the AT&T? Because bonds would be just stable, and you would still make that 7% yield. So moving along from that, last thing I'd like to touch in. Okay, so I've been saying, all right, I've been hacked for $700. I've been hacked, and I did make that video. I was like, I've been hacked for 20 grand today. I think a lot of people do know this is just a complete joke, inside joke for probably a lot of people. But in case you didn't know, I've not actually been hacked. That's what I decided to call it, because this dude, sharp and mild. So this third post down a month ago, he'd written that I'm being hacked. And you can go check his stuff out if you want to. But essentially, the story goes like I started watching him. He kind of just posted daily stuff like I did. And he was a bit entertaining, but like super, super risky. Like every meme stock, every SPAC, everything just completely speculative. So he had, like, I think when I first started watching him, he had a $300,000 account. And then it went down to like 90, and then I think it went up to like 200 and some. And then based on what he was holding, and you can see he was getting margin called, I think that account may have gone down to 0 or like almost nothing, to the point where it was embarrassing to show. And it is hard, I'll totally admit that it is hard to post a video when you're down a lot. It just sucks. It's not fun. But if you're going to be transparent, you're going to be transparent. So, and he had made several videos calling people out for not being transparent. And then all of a sudden, when everything was down, he decided that he's not going to post anything or show this account at all, after, basically saying, pointing the finger everywhere else, saying this is the wrong thing to do. Why don't you just show your stuff? Da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, that account has just disappeared. We haven't seen him in a week. And on top of that, the videos that he made, I was actually looking for him, that he made calling out people. He had even written a script making fun of people. Those have all been taken down and deleted. So, in fact, I have not been hacked. I willfully chose to make these plays and lost money on them, and have lost account value. And Tesla is in fact down $200 from my all-time highs. So, anyways, that is that. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I want to check out where this is 670, and what's a SPY doing? I saw it ripped up. Oh, okay. So we bounced back there too. Cool. So there's a chance we can make some money today. All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you for the subscription. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Love you. Make a lot of money.